Hello, I'm Disco Legend, and welcome to a Farming Simulator 19 gameplay series. In the previous episode, we did a bit of introduction and setup for our new life in Bjornholm. We found a great place to live and run our company from, and we let the roll of the dice decide our new work truck. I'd say it turned out okay for us. But all that was the easy part. Now it's time to meet new people, build those relationships, and make a name for our new company around this town. So let's get to work. Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 2. Episode 1 was mostly introduction and setup for the character and stuff. Episode 2 is officially our first day in our new life as a farmer. But before we head out into the world and get to work, let's cover a couple of quick technical things regarding this series. For the settings, we're going to use real time for the most part. There may be some scenarios where we need to speed it up just because there might not be anything left to do for the day. Economic difficulty, definitely hard. Traffic on, dirt normal. That's off. I think I prefer this one to be on. We really won't be using helpers that often, seeing as how we're a one-man operation, so we'll just leave all that off. I like to leave autosave turned off, just mainly because of terrain editing and object placement. There's no undo option, so I like to save before I attempt anything. I don't think there's anything here we need to change. For global company, not a whole lot to do right now. We'll activate this for later. And for seasons, just because I've never used it before, I'm not entirely sure what we want, but I think I'd rather have the season length too short than too long. So I think we'll stick with 6 for now. One other thing we've done is we've started a new save. We still own the land we purchased in episode 1. We still own our awesome new work truck. Let's go ahead and open this garage up. And we also have 0 money. So we're basically where we left off with episode 1. We'll use that other save for some other scenarios, testing mods, placing objects, things like that. But I think the first thing we need to do is head on down to the shop and see if our buddy can help us find some work. So he has a pretty nice shop set up here. Let's take a look around. I don't see him anywhere. Looks like he left a note here. Let's see what it says. Well, you're welcome to use the lift whenever you need, and call me if you ever need anything delivered on the job. That's nice of him. Oh, this must be the gift right here. I have no idea what he could have gotten us. He had us some business cards made. That's pretty awesome. Well, before we explain how the business cards are going to work, let's take a look at this lift and this transport truck real quick. Well, that's going to come in really handy, loading our trucks and trailers. It beats having to buy our own. This must be the truck he bought when he sold his old one. Looks like he'll be able to deliver seeds and maybe some other stuff to us on the job if we need it. On a side note, one other mod we have installed right now is the parked vehicle mod. So if you'll notice in the corner of the speedometer there's a little lock symbol. It means we can't tab to cars that we don't own. Also means we probably won't tab the cars we do own, just for a bit of realism. So we can't cycle through to anything. So while the shop may appear empty and lacking any customers, this really is the center of business for the farming community. We'll probably add some placeables later to fill it up a little bit. And when it comes time for us to buy equipment and see the options that are available to us, we'll do that in the old save. It's just easier to undo. It doesn't clog up our personal garage and store inventory with unnecessary items. As far as the business cards go, what we're going to do is each day we're going to leave one out and hope that for the next day a customer calls us for a job. And we'll say that our friend left one out yesterday for us for today. And we have 5 left, so we have one for each day of the year. At the end of the year, we've exhausted our supply. We'll have the option to buy more. And the price of them will be determined by the length of the year that we've set and also what we think is fair. So I look forward to hearing some options. And each day we'll do a kind of yes or no roll to see if someone's taken us up on an offer. And if we get a favorable roll, it just basically means we get first pick of the contract for the day. A bit of a freebie. So I think we should go ahead and do our first roll for that. So here's the new dice app we'll be using. I just think it looks a little better than that old one. So what we'll do is we'll set it to a D4. If it rolls an odd, that means no one's called us. If we get an even roll, that's a yes. So let's see what we got. Well, we got a 3. We'll be starting this day out the old-fashioned way. Let's take a look at the contract board. Start making some cold calls. Well, we have a lot of options to choose from. Looks like they're all cultivating or plowing. So one other mod we have installed is the Better Contracts mod. It allows us to do a couple of things. One is clear the entire list of contracts that are showing. I don't think we'll ever need to use that one. The second one is to give us new contracts if the list ends up being empty. I don't really want to use that because I feel it's kind of an exploit, but if for some reason the list becomes empty and it doesn't refresh on the next gaming day, we may have to use this. If we do end up having to use it, it may just be at some disadvantage to us. The best thing this mod does though is that it allows us to accept more than one mission at a time. That's going to make things a lot more convenient for us when we own our own equipment. If I was playing casually, what I would do is accept one cultivating contract and just use that borrowed equipment to finish the rest of the cultivating contracts and not have to borrow equipment and essentially kind of double dip with it. We're not going to do that in this series though. The only time we'll be able to get that double dipping bonus is if the same landowner needs the same work done on 2 different fields and we get both contracts. Then he'll allow us to use the equipment from one contract on the other. So I guess we'll just start at the top. It looks like Thorsten has 2 fields he needs cultivated. And because we haven't met him yet, we'll go ahead and drive out to his house and see if he'll give us any contracts. So in episode 1, I mentioned having a character level and sort of rep progression system in the game, and we can really make that as easy or as difficult as we desire. So for now, I think it's safe to say we're a level 0 farmer, and our reputation is pretty neutral with everyone. The experience we get will almost exclusively come from contracts to begin with, then later on from successfully harvesting a field we own, and somehow from animals. How we structure and pace the system is going to be a kind of fluid situation while I get a feel for making these videos, and what our level limits us to is also open for change. I've got a few ideas, but I'm also looking forward to hearing your suggestions. For the time being, a few of the statistics I'll be tracking as we go for now are contracts completed, as well as how many we did for each individual landowner. So for obtaining a contract with a neutral landowner, we're going to start with a system where 1 through 9 is a fail and 10 through 20 is a success. That gives us a 45% chance to fail and a 55% chance to succeed. And that seems pretty reasonable for now. And you can't roll a d20 and not have a bonus for a crit and a penalty for an epic fail of 1. And we'll figure something out as we go for them. I think the level system will be pretty easy to manage. The reputation system is where we need to be careful not to be too crazy and convoluted, but we'll discuss that shortly. This looks like one of the closest houses to fields 2 and 3 right here, so we'll say Thorsten lives right here for now. Let's go ahead and turn on that Disco Legend charm. Hey there, buddy. Looks like you need some cultivating done on field 2. How you feel about hiring this guy? Come on, don't fail the first try. Great start. Well, I see you need some work done on field 3 too. You want to give us a second chance? Come on, we need a win. And barely. Well, he's pretty unsure, but it's a yes. Well, could have been better, but it could have been worse. We failed field 2, so we're going to accept that, cancel it, and then clear it from the log. And then we're going to go ahead and accept the contract for field 3. Alright, so I'll meet you back here when I have the equipment ready. We're back out here at field 3 with the borrowed equipment. We only got one of his 2 jobs, so no double dipping bonus, but we did get the higher paying contract, so that's a plus. For the purpose of time and pacing, most of this kind of stuff will be transitioned to the end, unless there's some kind of narration needed. We have one more roleplay decision roll to do at the end of this contract that will kind of explain the initial idea I have for the reputation system. But before we get there, I wanted to do kind of a detour and break character for a little bit and just talk about why I'm doing this and how I got the inspiration. So a friend of mine got me playing this game a little over a year ago, and I've been playing it off and on ever since. And about 4 months ago, I was looking for a new map to play on, and I did some research, and No Man's Land kept popping up as one of the top maps to try. So I gave it a shot, and after trying to play on it for a while, I was kind of overwhelmed with just the possibilities and the lack of direction. I was just kind of lost. I was still having a good time playing the game and enjoying myself, but I guess the way to describe it was just lonely. So I started doing some searches on YouTube for No Man's Land, and one of the first things I came across was Farmer Cop's gameplay series where he does a No Man's Land map. So I started watching his series while I played my own game. And if for some reason you stumbled across this video, you haven't seen any of Farmer Cop's videos, you should really check him out. He does some amazing tutorials, mod reviews, and I can't even begin to explain how cool his gameplay series are. Really showing off our level 0 farmer skills right now. But anyways, I'm on about episode 30 of, I think, 90 something that he's got out there now. Plus he started several other series since then. I'm trying to slowly catch up. But at some point he started building his own town on the map and role-playing a bit, and he also started subscriber contracts, which I thought was just an amazing idea, getting the community involved and making the game not so lonely. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what other kind of ideas he introduces. So, while I don't think I'm ready to undertake a No Man's Land map kind of endeavor from scratch, I thought this map had a pretty good look and feel for this kind of idea. And I don't think we'll copy his idea for subscriber contracts exactly. I would like to get your guys' ideas on some NPC contracts, or possibly some things like favors that could increase our reputation, or some things that could happen that might negatively influence their opinion of us throughout this series. So that's kind of how this all started. So for the past few weeks I've been playing around with the video editing software and just getting a feel for that. So if you did happen to watch this episode 1 and you thought it was a bit rough around the edges, I'm hoping they get a little bit better as we go along here. I think I'm to the point now, technically, and in the setup of the series, where things will start to move a little faster. I'm still a little uncertain about the length of each episode, and how often they'll be released. So, those two things might be a little random for a little while. We're nearing the end of this contract, so that's enough about me for now. We established that to get a contract, we need a 10 or better. So my current idea with the rep system is that as it increases or decreases, the easier or more difficult it is to obtain a contract from an NPC. So now the question is, how do we increase our rep or lose it? Here's one idea. So while I think I'm doing an excellent job on this contract, it's not really up to us. I guess the final decision on our performance is up to the client. Which is going to bring us to our first reputation mechanic, the customer review. So when we finish this contract, when we go to collect our payment from the client, we're going to roll that D20 again. With the result of a 1 through a 5, we're going to get a negative review point from that NPC. And that number is going to be difficult to change because there's always the possibility of just doing a bad job. With the result of a 6 through an 18, the customer isn't thrilled, but we got the job done, and there's no rep change. Getting that 19 or 20 is going to earn us a positive review point with that NPC. So getting one negative review from a client isn't going to put us at a disadvantage the next time we try and get a contract. I'm thinking of something like a 3-strike program. If we get 3 negative reviews from the same client, the next time we try and get a contract, instead of needing a 10 to succeed, we'll need an 11. So maybe 3 negative reviews puts us at negative rep level 1. And it'll work pretty much the same for the positive reviews. If we get, say, 5 positive reviews from the same client, that'll put us at positive rep level 1. And rather than needing a 10 to succeed, we'll only need a 9. So while I don't think this system is too complicated, it will require some keeping track of on my part. Because hypothetically, if we got a negative review on this contract, and then we came back and did a contract for him again and got a positive review, we would just be back to neutral. So there is one simple way in order to get better reviews. And that's just getting better at the job. So for instance, once we achieve farmer level 1, instead of 19 being the minimum for a positive review, it'll be 18. So while this system is far from perfect, I think it kind of gets us started. The obvious idea is that as our level increases and our rep gets better, it's just a little easier to get contracts. So while I definitely don't want the whole town to hate us, I do want to play around with that idea of negative rep though. So if it turns out this system's a little too easy on us, we may have to come up with some other ideas on how to make these people hate us. Alright, we're finished with our first contract. Let's go get paid, and also find out how we did. Hey buddy, job's done. You mind taking a few minutes to fill out a quick review on our work? Uh-oh. Saved. Hey, we'll take it, because I thought for sure that was going to be a 3. Now, pay up. We're tired of being broke. Well, the business card was a bust for the day. We failed our first attempt at a contract, but at least we made over $1,100 for the second one. We may have only completed one contract, but we also established a kind of foundation for our rep and level system, so I think this is a good place to wrap up episode 2. Because we have a pretty long list of contracts to tackle for episode 3. And now's as good a time as any to start looking around town for some equipment to buy of our own. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and please leave any ideas or suggestions you may have in the comments below. See you next time.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.